Welcome back. Who believes records aren't meant to be broken? Apparently, Eric does, and he's going to tell us all about some of the best and most unbreakable sports records to date.
Yes, James. I'm going to give you five of the top all-time records and stats that I think are the greatest of all time, the GOAT stats. Number five, Mike Tyson, youngest world heavyweight champion of all time. He was 20 years old, and he's the only boxer to ever defend the heavyweight title 3 times. So he's 3-0, challenged by another boxer as being a champion. That's fucking insane. And he is Mike Tyson. He's hilarious. He's a comedian. He's got an Adult Swim show. He's got all this other shit. Number four, Mike Trout, the quickest player to 200 home runs and 200 stolen bases at age 28. My age. You know what that means? I'm probably a piece of shit because I didn't do that at my age. I haven't done anything that ever will amount to that at my age. Me and him are different guys, but yeah. Number three, Michael Jordan. I've mentioned this before on the podcast. He's got the most NBA Finals MVP awards, 6 of them, and he is 100% successful in every championship that he's ever played for. In other words, 6 out of 6 math in the finals. Number two, Wayne Gretzky, Traden, the great one. He has the most records in all of hockey. Like, there's just a fucking giant list of them, and I will not read all of them. Probably not many of them at all, but one that did stick out to me, most playoff points ever, 382 points, 122 goals, 260 assists. The most goals ever at 894. And the most points ever by the center position, 2,856. And, of course, my number one, it has to be golf because it's Tiger Woods, and he's tied for the most PGA tournament wins of all time, 82 PGA tournament wins. And he is only 2 major wins away from being tied for the most with Jack Nicklaus at 20 of them. I think he will reach that.
Wow.
I hope he wins 3 more majors. But, of course, I picked golf as the number one. Traden, what are your top records that you would say are most important?
Yeah, man. I'm going to dig a little bit more into my favorite one is Wayne Gretzky notches 2,857 career points. And the craziest part about that stat is you could take away the goals from that stat, and he still has the most points by a long shot, which is absolutely incredible. So he was one of a kind, and I don't think anybody is going to come close to eclipsing that. The Montreal Canadiens win 5 straight cups between the years 1955 to 1960. It's crazy for us to think that the Pittsburgh Penguins even went back to back a few years ago, and now they're trading away their Stanley Cup champion goaltender. So to win 2 straight cups is incredible, but to win 5, I think you'll never see that again. Going back to this crazy playoff, we're going to talk about the longest NHL game ever between the Detroit Red Wings and the Montreal Bruins back in, I think it was like 1936. Lasted 116 minutes and 30 seconds of overtime for a final score of 1-0. What a boring ass game. Red Wings won and went on to sweep that series. Ichiro Suzuki hits 262 hits in 2004. I mean, that seems, I don't know. I'm not a huge baseball guy. That seems insane. I don't know.
It's a record, dude.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he wasn't really known for as much power as he was his speed. So he would, he kept it in, kept his feet moving, and I think that's kind of baseball I'd love to see, come back again. And one of my favorites, the most decorated Olympian is Michael Phelps at 238. He has 10 more medals than the next greatest Olympian. Guys, to me, and I know he's never going to swim for us again, but this guy was dominant. Oh, and by the way, 3 medals. But by the way, 5 of those medals were not gold, which means the rest were gold medals, which is absolutely incredible. So he will go down as the best Olympian to ever live. I mean, I don't know if anybody can come close to that. So those are my favorites right there.
I figured there'd be a lot of hockey in there. James,
Tried to
tell me
trick.
about your best stats of all time.
I'm gonna go 5-1, just like you. Coming in at number 5, I have Wilt Chamberlain putting up 100 points in one game and getting 55 rebounds in another game. Those numbers are insane. Like, they're really hard to get even in a video game. So the fact that he did that in real life is crazy. Kobe came close with 81 a couple years back. RIP Kobe. And then the highest rebound total this century was 31 by Kevin Love in 2010. That was just this century. Like, nobody rebounds anymore. It's like not something that's viewed as glamorous. And to be honest, Wilt Chamberlain was way taller to play against, so it was a lot easier for him to get those points and those rebounds. So I mean, that's just facts there. Number 4, Bill Russell has 11 championships. That's a crazy amount. 11 is ridiculous. There's just no more dominant teams like that anymore. Teams are going to be battling back and forth. You can get a 3-peat, maybe a 4-peat, but the fact that you can get 11 is crazy. Number 3, Brett Favre throws 336 interceptions. That's a lot of interceptions. Even, I mean, like, as long as you're not Mitch Trubisky or something, like, you'll be okay. I mean, with the new rules against the defense, like, the defense can't be that physical, it's harder to get those interceptions. And the quarterbacks now are getting a little bit more accurate, more mobile, to the fact that they can buy some time and throw it to where they want to throw it. So less interceptions. Number 2, the Miami Dolphins win a Super Bowl while having an undefeated record. The Patriots came close. Going undefeated and winning it all, incredible. It's insane. The fact the Dolphins did seeing their team out is crazy. But that's a lot of history there. Every single week, anybody can win, and we see that on a week-to-week basis. So the fact that they did that is incredible. And number 1, Barry Bonds gets walked 688 times. You just don't see that nowadays because there's a lot more protection. People can hit better. You put Mike Trout next to Anthony Rendon, you're not going to walk Mike Trout. Then you got to pitch Anthony Rendon. That's crazy. So you're just not going to see those numbers anymore. And those are my top 5.
I'm shocked you didn't have more football, but
I try to be inclusive, man.
yeah, sports.
Good for you.
Tyler,
Sports.
what are the 5 sports stats that you think are the GOAT stats?
Yeah. I love looking at stats and records. I think it's awesome. I think records are meant to be broken, but there's a few that I think that I just don't know if they ever will. I'm going to start off with a few baseball ones off the bat, of course. My first one is Ty Cobb, who has a career batting average of 367, which is crazy. Only twice since 1990 has a player hit better than 367 for one season. And that was Nomar Garciaparra in 2000 and Ichiro in 2004, who each hit 372. Other than that, no one's hit higher than that. And of course, if you know how averages work, you have to hit a little bit higher than that to get, an average. #math.
Oh.
Yeah. Just in case you guys didn't
That's
know.
how it works.
Yeah. The only modern day player who is in the top 20 all time in batting average is Tony Gwynn, who is at 14th at 338. So looking at all those numbers and just seeing how baseball is, especially now, it's very it's like home runs, walks, strikeouts. The averages aren't nearly what they used to be. You don't see those guys hitting very high. You get a couple of them, like a DJ LeMahieu or Charlie Blackmon or Jose Altuve, #cheater, on those lists. But other than that, you don't see guys hitting much higher than 320 very often. It's pretty rare. So to have a career batting average of 367, I think is crazy. My next stat is Johnny Vandermeer threw back-to-back no-hitters way back in like the 20s or something, which is insane. Like, I think even there's a lot of great pitching nowadays, but to do that in back-to-back games and back-to-back starts, I don't know if that will ever happen again. That's an amazing feat. My next stat, doing a different sport this round, Wilt Chamberlain averaging 50.4 points during his 1961-62 season and again, I think the averages is so impressive because it just shows you how consistent you can be so great for so long. And averaging 50 points for an entire season is absolutely insane to me. I think, the best players in the NBA today, probably at like the best ones, like, low 30s at best. So that's pretty insane. And then my next one is Nolan Ryan, his career strikeout record of 5,714 career strikeouts. The next closest to that mark is Randy Johnson, who has 900 strikeouts less. Trey, this kind of reminds you of the Wayne Gretzky kind of goals type of record. Just he's so far ahead of everyone else. Just he was just the absolute greatest at striking people out. I just don't see anyone doing that ever again. Just so you know, if someone were to break this record, a pitcher would have to strike out 285 batters for a season for 20 years, which is crazy. Like 285, you see that every once in a while. Like, Max Scherzer has done it, Kershaw's done it, Verlander has done it, but not for 20 seasons. For like 1 or 2, 3, maybe 4 seasons at best in their heights. So that's insane records that I don't think anyone's going to break. And my last one, which is a little interesting one, this is a hockey one for you, Traden. Mario Lemieux scored 5 goals in 1988 of each type, which I don't believe has ever happened. I don't think this will ever happen again. So he scored an even strength goal, a shorthanded goal, a power play goal, a penalty shot, and an empty net goal all in the same game. So Traden, correct me if I'm wrong, but those are the only types of goals all the types of goals you can score. You did them all in the same game. Which I don't know if that will ever happen again. It's kind of similar to hitting a cycle in baseball, but you see 1 or 2 cycles every year in baseball. But I don't think this will ever happen again in hockey. So those are my 5 craziest stats.
No, that's pretty crazy. To even have more than 3 goals in a game alone is insane.
Yeah.
But to have it that specific, I mean,
yeah, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, Tyler's hyped on those baseball stats. That's actually good stuff to know, though. Nolan Ryan was once an Angel. I don't think he probably broke any of those records on the Angels. But Alex, I know you got a couple mixed different records as well, and I know you mixed around the sports too. We want to hear them. What you got?
Yeah, I did a little bit of everything. I do have some baseball ones. So Cy Young, 749 complete games and 111 wins. The active pitcher, just to put that into perspective, is Justin Verlander. He has 26 complete games, 749 to 26. And technically, if you want to say Bartolo Colon is active, which I hope he is because Bartolo Colon is the best human on this earth. Big Sexy has 247 wins. So nowhere close. The next one, Joe DiMaggio with his hit streak of 56 straight games. The closest one recently was Jimmy Rollins in 05-06, which is 38 games. That one's never going to be broken. I did golf just for you, Eric. Byron Nelson, whoever the figgity fuck that is, had 11 consecutive PGA Tour wins. I think it's a miracle when there's 2. I mean, I understand golf is hard. I do think it's a dumb sport, but I understand it is a very tough game. But to win it, a PGA Tour event 11 times in a row is insane. I mean, that's never going to happen again. I think if someone wins 3, it's going to be the world's ended or something. Going to basketball, kind of a little bit like Traden's. The Boston Celtics won 8 straight championships from 1959 to 1966, though. It's not enough math, I don't think. Whatever. It was in the early or late 50s, early 60s. That one's a little tough, though, because there was only 9 teams or 8 or 9 teams while that streak was going on. So that one's a little iffy. And then Cal Ripken Jr., with his games played streak. I mean, that's one that's known all across all sports. 2,632 games played. The most recent one that was kind of long was 300. We still have 2,300 games to go. And the fact that Cal Ripken is a Hall of Fame player just makes it even more impressive. I mean, no one's even going to come close with load management, even though it's a basketball term. It's rare to see someone play 162, during a normal season. So I picked all super old ones, and none of these are ever going to come close to being broken. But I just think they're all amazing.
Iron Man, right? That's just never not playing a game in your sport.
Yeah, and his last one was he was just like, yeah, I'm kind of done. I'm just gonna call it.
Could have gone 1,000 more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, shit. After you guys mentioning all those different records, I think I'm going to change my top record. Fuck, I might have to go with the Mario Lemieux stat, just of 5 different style goals in one game. I don't know if that will ever happen again, but fuck, the whole 11 PGA Tour championships in a row. that's fucking gnarly as well.
Maybe he was just playing against one other guy. Who knows?
Yeah.
There was
Maybe
only
it was
three
like
guys in the PGA back then.
Yeah.
maybe it was like in the 1800s before
Yeah.
like alcohol was fucking invented.
Yeah, I think
Eric,
it was in the
I was going to
30s.
say, when it comes to that stat, I mean, I don't know how long, like you said, I don't know how long, but you have to admit the talent now is so vast. And I mean, that alone is just going to make it impossible for that to ever happen, right?
You don't think McNasty can do it? McDusty?
No, we're talking about golf, right? The talent,
I thought you were talking about the Mario Lemieux.
the talent is way too vast. I mean, there's way too good guys out there.
Yeah, golf. Like Alex said, golf is actually like just some random dude that's never won a tour championship wins one or a PGA tournament, and then all of a sudden people find out about him.
Right.
Any stats that you guys would change to be like your top after hearing all of those, Tyler?
I mean, there was a lot of good ones. I think my favorite one of all time is the Cal Ripken games played one. Just because if you in any sport, if obviously you can kind of condense it to, baseball plays a lot more games than football or hockey or basketball, but just to play consecutively without getting hurt, without needing a day off, is just unbelievable. Like I think that is the most impressive. There's a lot of great stats with just, pure performance stats wise, which are also great. But just to be able to show up every day and play for that long is unbelievable. I think for me, that's my favorite record of all time. One that I don't think will ever be. I think I can say with 100% certainty will never be broken. Some of these I think are very difficult and probably will also never be broken. But that one I'm like, there's no way in hell that record's ever being broken, ever. So that one's my favorite.
Yeah. There was a guy in hockey, trading was it Cogliano, I think, when he was on the Ducks. He had like 800 games in a row.
Yeah, he went far.
And he got suspended because he hit Adrian Kempe on the Kings. Questionable hit, I must say.
It was not.
No, he was on the Ducks, dude. Questionable hit.
It was absolutely a penalty, but to be suspended.
Yeah, don't suspend him for that because I remember it was like a big fiasco. Traden, has your mind been changed by all of our stats?
No, man. My top one has to be Wayne's. I mean, I can't just take everybody's stat, but it has to be Wayne's, and I don't, it just has to be. When you have Ovechkin's maybe the only one who has a chance to beat his goal record, which is he still has to score like 40 goals a season for the next like 5 or something crazy, which is insane. But no one's gonna come close to his assist, so it's just it's a done deal. Pack it up. Let's go.
So Alex, the golf one was your favorite, right? Or was it not? Or actually, what do you think is the best one?
I think the golf one is insane. I mean, it is. It's not. Again, it is not like championship tournaments. It's just PGA Tour events in general. Either way, that's still very impressive. Just to pick one that's not one of my own, because that one actually might be my favorite. It has to be Wilt. I mean, I know he was a big dominant guy, but the fact that it's just like a clean 100 is so nice, Yeah. 100 points. Boom. I fucking killed it. And Wilt Chamberlain, he's a questionable kind of dude if you kind of look into his past, but no one's ever going to come close to that. I think, most recently, like Devin Booker dropped 70 a couple of years ago, and that's still 30 points away. And someone's like, oh man, he had a 30-point game. You're like, oh, that was a really good game. No, Wilt dropped 100 points. Like that's insane.
Miami didn't even score 100 points in game 1.
I know, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's rare. Teams don't score 100s half the time.
Wonder what the score of that game was. Like 120 to
100 to 3.
90, and like it's literally
it's like all exactly 100. Yeah.
190. James, you sticking with your guns, or would you change your top stat?
I might change it, man. The Cy Young stat about the complete games and the wins, that's incredible. Like you never see that's not happening. I mean, you started it out for you. It's never gonna happen again. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's why you get that's why you get an award named.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Tyler was hating on all the NHL award names, but baseball's got a couple too, right? But one couple, few, you know.
Yeah, it's not all of them.
Yeah, well, that's all I got this week. Lots of stats. We became big stat guys this week. We have been getting better with the stats, but yep.
That's what we do. We research for you. Anyway, thanks for that, Eric.